What if I told you that claiming Social Security at 62 does not always lock you in for life? Most people think once they start that check, the decision is done, sealed, finished. But for some people, that is not true. There are ways to change course. One of them can fully undo the claim if you act fast enough. Another can still help you raise your monthly check later, even if the first option is gone. And that matters more than you think because a small monthly change is not really small. An extra $200 a month is $2,400 a year. An extra $400 a month is $4,800 a year. Over a long retirement, that can mean real breathing room, groceries, utilities, medicine, a car repair without panic, maybe just less stress at 3 in the morning. I started making videos like this because someone in my own family claimed early without understanding the rules. She thought she had no choice. Years later, she found out there were options she never even knew to ask about. Nobody called her. Nobody explained it in plain English. I do not want that to happen to your family. So if this kind of simple, honest help matters to you, subscribe. I'll keep making more of these. Right now, there are probably two kinds of people watching this. The first person claimed it 62 years ago and still feels a knot in their stomach every time they see that smaller check. They think, well, I made my choice, and now I have to live with it. The second person just claimed recently or is about to, and something feels off. They are asking, did I move too fast? If you are either of those people, you are in the right place. Here's what most people never learn. The system is designed to do exactly what you tell it to do. Nothing more, nothing less. Nobody is checking if you picked the best age. Nobody is calling to say, hold on, you may want to wait. Nobody is reviewing your file to see if a better move exists. It is all on you. The good news is you can fix more than you think. You just need to know which rule fits your situation. I'm Daniel. I've spent more than 20 years helping older adults and their families make sense of retirement income, and I've seen people lose thousands simply because nobody explained the rules in normal English. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what is happening, why people get confused, and what you can still do if you claimed at 62. I'll give you real steps, real form names, and real places to go. By the end, you will know whether you may be able to fully reverse your decision, partly improve it, or at least stop guessing and get a clear answer. First thing you need to know, there is a real rule that lets some people take back a Social Security retirement claim. This is not gossip. This is not one of those coffee shop stories that turns out to be half true. If it has been less than 12 months since you first became entitled to retirement benefits, you may be able to withdraw your application. That means you are not just pausing the check. You are asking Social Security to treat that claim as if it never happened. If they approve it, the old decision is wiped away. Later on, you can apply again, and your new benefit can be higher because you waited longer. Now let me slow that down because this is where people get lost. This option is not for everyone. It is usually only for people who are still within that first 12-month window. So if your benefits started 2 months ago, 5 months ago, even 11 months ago, this may still be on the table. If they started 3 years ago, this specific option is usually gone. There is another catch. You do not get to keep the money and start over. To withdraw the application, you generally have to pay back what was paid on that record. That means not just your own checks. If a spouse or child got money on your record, that can be part of the payback too. If Medicare premiums were taken out, those amounts can matter too. This is why you never want to guess. You want the exact number from Social Security before you make a move. Let's make this real. Say John claimed at 62 and started getting $1,400 a month. He has received 8 checks, so that is $11,200. Let's say Medicare and a few other deductions affected what actually hit his bank, but the total benefit history tied to that claim is still what matters. John now realizes that if he waits until 67, his monthly amount could be much higher. If he can repay what was already paid and Social Security approves the withdrawal, he may be able to reapply later and lock in a better number for life. For some people, that sounds impossible. They say, Daniel, I don't have $11,000 sitting around. Fair point. But some do have savings or help from a spouse or money in a CD or a home sale coming, and for them the math can make sense. Imagine John's new benefit later becomes $2,000 a month instead of $1,400. That is a $600 monthly difference. Over just 20 months, that is $12,000 back in his pocket. And after that, the higher check keeps coming. Now, I am not telling you to do this blindly. I am telling you to stop assuming you cannot. If your claim is still fresh, you may have a short window to fix an expensive decision. Here's what to do about this right now. Sign in at ssa.gov/myaccount today and check the date your retirement benefits first started. If it has been less than 12 months, ask Social Security about Form SSA-521, which is the request to withdraw an application, and do that before the window closes. Second thing, if that 12-month window is already gone, you may still have a second chance later. Not a full do-over, but a second chance. This is where many people give up too early. They hear that withdrawal is only allowed early on, and they think, well, that's it. End of story. But it is not the end of the story. Once you reach your full retirement age, you may be able to ask Social Security to suspend your retirement benefit. This does not erase the original claim. It does something different. It stops your checks for a period of time so your future benefit can grow. Think of it like this. Withdrawal is like taking the claim off the table and starting over later. Suspension is like pressing pause after full retirement age so the amount can build before you turn it back on. Here is a simple example. Let's say Mary claimed at 62 and receives $1,300 a month. She keeps that benefit for several years. Then she reaches full retirement age and realizes she does not need the check right now because she is still working part-time and her husband has a pension. At that point, she may be able to suspend her Social Security. During the suspension period, her monthly amount can rise until age 70. When the checks start again, they can be meaningfully bigger. For someone whose full retirement age is 67, the difference can be striking. A person who claims at 62 may get about 70% of the full benefit. At 67, that is 100%. At 70, it can rise to about 124% of the full benefit. That does not mean everyone jumps from 62 straight to 70 after the fact, but it shows how much money timing can change. So let's put numbers on it. Suppose your full retirement age benefit would have been $2,000. Claiming at 62 might put you around $1,400. If later after reaching full retirement age you suspend and let the benefit grow until 70, your restarted amount may be much better than the early amount you were living on. Not perfect, not the same as never claiming early, but still better. Sometimes much better. This matters most for three groups of people. People who are in decent health and expect a long retirement. People who have other income for a few years and can afford to stop the check. And married couples where a higher benefit can protect the surviving spouse later. That last part gets overlooked all the time because remember, this is not just about next month. Sometimes the smartest Social Security move is really about the person who may still be living 10 or 15 years after the first spouse is gone. A bigger benefit later can mean more safety later. Are you still with me? Good. Let's keep going. Here is the part people miss. You cannot usually do this suspension at 63 or 64 just because you changed your mind. It starts at full retirement age or later, not before. And if you suspend, there can be effects on benefits being paid to others on your record. So again, this is not a move you make because a neighbor told you to. This is a move you check carefully. Also, if Medicare Part B is being taken out of your Social Security check, suspension can change how that premium gets paid. Instead of being deducted from your monthly check, you may be billed directly. That is not a reason to avoid suspension. It is just something you must be ready for. Here's what to do about this right now. If you are at or near full retirement age, call Social Security at 800-772-1213 and ask one direct question. If I voluntarily suspend my retirement benefit, what would my monthly amount be at age 70? Do not hang up until you get a clear number. Third thing, the biggest mistake people make is looking only at the monthly increase and ignoring the break-even point. This is where people either make a smart move or a very painful one. Let's say someone tells you, you can get $350 more a month if you change course. That sounds great. But if you had to repay $16,000 to withdraw your claim, or give up 24 months of checks to suspend later, you need to know how long it takes to earn that money back. This is not hard math. It is simple kitchen table math. If your monthly benefit rises by $400 and you gave up or repaid $12,000 to get there, then $12,000 divided by $400 is 30 months. That means after about 30 months of getting the bigger check, you have made the money back. After that, the higher amount is real gain. Now, 30 months may sound long to one person and short to another. That depends on health, savings, family history, and peace of mind. If you are 62 and in poor health, the answer may be different from someone who is 67, healthy, and has parents who both lived into their 90s. This is why there is no single answer for everybody. I remember when I first learned how often people skip this one step. They get emotional. They either panic and claim too early, or panic and try to undo it without checking the full picture. Stay with me, because this part can save you from making a second mistake while trying to fix the first one. Here's another example. Susan claimed at 62 and got $1,500 a month. 8 months later, she learns she can withdraw, repay around $12,000, and reapply later for maybe $2,050 a month at her full retirement age. That is a $550 difference each month. If she expects to need that benefit for many years, the math may work well. But if Susan has serious health problems and no savings, that same move may be too risky. Now let's look at suspension. Robert claimed at 62 and receives $1,350 a month. At full retirement age, he decides to suspend until 70. If his future benefit rises by, say, $300 or $350 a month, he needs to compare that larger lifetime check against the checks he is giving up during the suspension years. Again, no guessing, just math. And please hear me on this. There's nothing weak or foolish about claiming early if you truly needed the money. A lot of people did. They got laid off at 62. Their knees gave out. A spouse got sick. Prices went up. They were surviving, not making a bad choice. This video is not about shame. It is about options. If life pushed you into an early claim, fine. Now let's see what, if anything, can still be improved. Does this make sense so far? If something is unclear, keep watching. I'll explain it again in a different way. Here's what to do about this right now. Take out one piece of paper and write down 3 numbers today. What you get now each month, what Social Security says you could get later, and how much you would need to repay or give up to make the change. Those 3 numbers will tell you more than 100 opinions from friends. Last thing, your Social Security choice does not live alone. It touches your spouse, your taxes, your Medicare, and in some cases, even the benefit a survivor may depend on later. This is where the stakes get real. Let me give you the strongest example. A married couple comes in. The husband claimed at 62 because he was tired of waiting. His check is $1,450 a month. His full retirement age amount would have been $2,050. His wife spent years out of the workforce caring for family, so her own benefit is small. If he changes course in the right way and ends up with a bigger lifetime benefit, that may not just help him. It may help her for years after he is gone if she ends up depending on the higher survivor amount. That is why I get frustrated when people talk about Social Security like it is only a single-person decision. It often is not. One claim can shape 2 retirements. Now let's talk Medicare in plain English. If your Social Security check is paying your Medicare Part B premium for you, and you suspend your retirement benefit later, that premium may no longer be taken from the check because the check has stopped. That means you may get billed directly. If you are not ready for that, you can create a new problem while trying to solve the old one. Taxes can matter too. Maybe you are still working. Maybe you are taking money from an IRA. Maybe your spouse has pension income. A change in Social Security timing can affect how your cash flow feels each month. Even before tax season shows up, you do not need a giant spreadsheet. You just need to stop treating this like a small decision. And there is one more thing many people never hear. If other people receive benefits on your record, your move can affect them. So before you withdraw or suspend, you need to know exactly who else is connected to that claim and what changes for them. You're doing great. Most people click away by now. You're still here. That means you care about getting this right. This is why I tell people not to ask, "Can I reverse my Social Security?" Ask a better question. Which rule applies to me, and what does it change for everyone tied to my record? That is the grown-up version of this conversation, and it is the one that actually protects your money. Here's what to do about this right now. Before you change anything, make one appointment with Social Security and ask them to explain how a withdrawal or suspension would affect your own benefit, your Medicare payment method, and anyone else receiving benefits on your record. Okay, you've made it this far. Most people don't. Let me give you two more things that work alongside everything I just explained. First bonus thing. Open my Social Security account if you do not already have one. I know, some people hear online account and immediately want to leave the room, but this one is worth it. At ssa.gov/myaccount, you can see your benefit details, check your earnings record, and catch mistakes before they become permanent. Even one missing work year on that record can affect your benefit. Let's say your earnings record missed a year when you made $48,000. You may not notice it by staring at your monthly check, but over time, errors like that can matter. If your record is wrong, fix that first. There's no point building a plan on bad numbers. Here's what to do about this right now. If you do not already have one, set up your My Social Security account this week and review your earnings history line by line. Second bonus thing, do not confuse "I can change something" with "I should change something." That warning may save you just as much money as any strategy. Some people hear about withdrawal and think, perfect, I'll just repay everything and wait. But if that wipes out your savings and leaves you unable to cover rent or medicine, that is not a smart fix. Other people hear about suspension and think, great, I'll stop the checks at full retirement age. But if they still need that money to live, the larger future check will not help much if the present becomes a crisis. Here is the mistake to avoid: making a Social Security choice in isolation. Do not look at the benefit number by itself. Look at your whole life, your health, your cash savings, your debts, your spouse, your housing, your need for steady income right now. A good Social Security move should make your life calmer, not harder. Here's what to do about this right now. Before you file any form or request any change, ask yourself one honest question. Will this decision make the next 12 months more stable for me, not just the next 12 years? If the answer is no, slow down. So let me make this simple. What I just showed you is this: claiming at 62 does not always mean you are stuck forever. If your claim is still within the first 12 months, you may be able to withdraw it using Form SSA-521 and start over later, but you usually have to repay what was paid out. If that window is closed, reaching full retirement age can still open the door to voluntary suspension, which may help your future monthly benefit grow. The reason this matters is simple. Even a few $100s more each month can change your retirement. The action you need to take is also simple. Find out which rule applies to you and get your real numbers. That's it. One step. Do it today. And let me say one more quiet thing, because some of you need to hear it. If you claimed at 62 because life cornered you, please do not beat yourself up. You made the best move you could with the information and pressure you had at the time. What matters now is not regret. What matters now is whether a better path still exists from where you are standing today. One thing before you leave this page: think of one person in your life who needs to hear this. Maybe it is your sister, maybe it is your neighbor, maybe it is someone at church who keeps saying, "I think I claimed too early." Send them this video. One share could change somebody's month, maybe even their whole retirement. That's all I'm asking. Next time, I'm going to show you what happens when Social Security gets your earnings record wrong and how to fix it before it costs you money for years. Most people never look at that record until it is too late. I'll see you then.